and welcome back to Claire's Clues. On today's video, we're going to be talking about the book The 4-Hour Workweek by Tim Ferriss. See, this book is all about how to work smarter and not harder. How to get the results of what you're looking for without putting in all that effort that we usually do. So instead of working your 9-to-5 job, you can cull it down to just a few hours a week where you're able to make the same amount of money but doing a different thing and still ending up with a great result. So he goes on to say that a good way to do this, or one way to do this, would be to create a product, sell it, earn that money in return, and then convert that money that you've got into a currency that where your dollar is worth more, such as pesos, therefore enabling you to do things that you wouldn't usually be able to do because your money is worth less where you have, or where you are. So by able to transfer your currency over to another where your dollar is worth more, it enables you to make things a lot easier and to do things and have opportunities that you might not necessarily have. So he also goes on to say that don't be naive, but there's no reason why you can't be. So what he means by this is that don't be naive as to what it is you can achieve, because even though you might think you can make all your money in just a couple of hours in a week, don't be naive about it. Understand that it is still going to make, it's still going to take a lot of time and effort, but nowhere near as much as your 9-to-5 job. And like he goes on to say, there's no reason why you can't be. You can be naive. You can be very, I'm sure this is going to work. I'm going to make it happen. But understand that, like always with most jobs, there is going to be some degree of effort and time needed. So he goes on to say, guys, that there is a thing called the 80-20 rule. And he refers to this as elimination. So the 80-20 rule is where 80% of our outcomes or our results come from 20% of our efforts. So 20% of what we're putting in every day, the effort that we give, is that 80% of our outcomes or results will come from that 20% that we put in. So that's a pretty big number. So in comparison, if you were to do that over the week, you'd find that it starts to compound and add up. So he also goes on to say outsource. Outsource to others. So what you'll find is that, for example, if you have to edit videos, if that's your job and you put that on yourself to do, you might find that every day you're spending an hour or two editing your videos or, editing your audios and your video and putting it all together and, making sure you've got the best equipment for it, when in actual fact, you could save that time. So at the end of the week, 1 hour a day, what you might find is it takes up 7 hours in your week, or double that, it would be 14. But what you can find is by outsourcing, you'll be able to save that time and the money that you invest in all the programs needed to edit your videos and outsource to someone else who can do it for a lot cheaper and is already well equipped for that, in particular, that task. So by doing this, we're saving our time, energy, effort, and money and giving it to someone who is very capable of doing the same thing at a lower cost and have the same result within a normal amount of time. Now, he also goes on to say that we need to cut out or remove or avoid having a low information diet. And the ways we can do this is a couple. So one is time consuming things. Things where, like, if we like to sit down and watch Netflix and, spend our time catching up on TV series or watching movies or whatever it might be, or even just scrolling through Facebook. These are time consuming things that we can do without because they take up just what it says, time. And time is something we can't get back, unfortunately. So wherever we're spending our time, we need to make it count. So we need to start removing things that take up our time and don't actually benefit us at all. So moving on to number two. Number two talks about negative things. Now something negative, for example, would be watching the news, because the news is nothing but negative nowadays. Now, unfortunate as that is, you'll find that watching the news will only give you a poor mindset towards things and it'll only make you feel down. Now, although you might feel as if you are getting some degree of information out of it, it doesn't paint a really good picture, leaving us feeling a little bit negative. So moving on to number three, guys, it's irrelevant to your goals. Things that are irrelevant to what it is you're trying to achieve. So things like this could be, if you want to be a world-class diver, but you're going golfing or you're playing tennis, these things aren't actually helping you get towards your goal. You're not going to be a world-class diver by going off and playing golf or tennis. You're going to be a world-class diver because you consistently went out and kept diving and kept trying, and you went further and further every time. You would push yourself every single time you did it. Number four, guys, he moves on to outside of your influence. So this is something that we don't have control of, the things that we wish we did, but don't necessarily have the ability to change or alter in any way. Things that, like it says, are out of our control. So because we spend a lot of our time worrying about other people or what's going on in other people's lives, or, you know, the drama that just surrounds us on a daily basis, we find that this is outside of our control, outside of our influence. So this is something that we can definitely cut out, because these are all things that we find ourselves spending time on and a lot of our effort and energy for little to no result. All right, so moving on, he also says, if you're at work, remove yourself from the workplace if possible. If you can do the same job at home, avoid going to work. Avoid spending your time and your money taking that trip to work, spending the time there, and then having to come all the way back home when you could have just achieved the same result without leaving your house. So things like this make a big difference when they start to compound over a long period of time. Even in a week, you'll find you might even be able to save, 14 to 24 hours simply because you stopped commuting to and from work. Or you might find that you're more productive at home instead of going to the workplace, and you're getting more done. Or you might even just be getting the same amount of work done. Whatever it might be, wherever you're more comfortable. What I'd do, or what I'd suggest, is that removing yourself from the workplace can be beneficial for many reasons. So I'll quickly recap all this for you guys. He starts off with the fact that work smarter, not harder. So although you might be putting in a lot of time and effort, understand that we only get 80% of our results from 20% of the effort that we're putting in. So if that's the case, learn to work smarter and not harder, because working harder doesn't necessarily mean that we are getting a better result. And understand that you don't need to be naive when it comes to making money, when it comes to cutting your hours and making the same amount of work happen in a shorter period of time. But in saying that, there's no reason why you can't be naive. There's no reason why you can't believe that you can do that. That is possible, just under the right circumstances and in the right conditions. It doesn't happen for everyone, but it can happen so long as you're taking the right steps. And move on to, like I just said, the 80-20 rule. So 80% of our outcomes come from 20% of our efforts. So make sure that you're absolutely maximizing on your efforts, therefore getting a better result, and in turn, shortening the time that you need to spend on whatever it is that you want to be doing. And again, guys, outsource. Make sure you're outsourcing whatever it is you need done to whoever you can, wherever you can, for whatever it is that you can. Because this will save you a lot of time, energy, and effort. And what you'll find is that at the end of the week, like I said, you'll be able to gain back more time, and you're able to focus on things that you truly want to do, or things that you really want to invest in. Maybe if it's only just spending time with the family, then you'll be able to do that. You'll be able to go home and spend time with the family and not feel as if you're feeling guilty from not going to work or not achieving the result that you thought you should be. And last but not least, guys, the low income diet. So the things that we need to remove in order to move forward. Things like time consuming activities, so watching Netflix or scrolling through Facebook or even just playing some games. These are time consuming activities that we can avoid. Number 2 is negative things. So negative things being like whatever will impact us in a negative way. So things like watching the news, which is just negative news, negative input, no real good benefit or result, therefore leaving us feeling a little bit drained or a little bit negative from what it is that we've seen or heard. Number 3 is irrelevant to your goals. So anything that has nothing to do with your goals, don't do it. Avoid it if you can. Because what you'll find is that by putting off whatever it is that we should be doing, and we start doing the activities that we like, we'll find that we're not actually going to be reaching our goals when or how we should be doing that. Number 4, he talks about outside of your influence. So things like family drama, friend drama, things that are going on in life outside of what is relevant to us and the things that we can control, cut it out, because it's not going to do us any good or give us any benefit to actually achieving our goal of success. And last but not least, guys, remove yourself from the workplace if you can. So if you can do the same amount of work at home, if you can get the same result from what it is you're doing at work, at home, and save your time from traveling and money, then do it. Because at the end of the week, like I said, you'll be far better off and you'll be able to take more hours back and have time in your hands. You'll be able to take control of your life and truly be able to live it the way you want to. Simply because you did little acts like this. You took the initiative to take away the one thing that's taking up time, or the few things that are taking up time. So like I just said, the 4 things: the time consuming, the negative, the irrelevant to your goals, and outside of your influence, as well as removing yourself from the workplace if you have to. Because if you find you're getting the same result at home than you are at work, then what was the point of commuting all that way anyway? Alright guys, well that's all for me. We'll be making a lot more of these videos for this training series to help you with your personal development goals, but until next time, leave a comment below on what you like the most, and I look forward to seeing you next time in Claire's Clues.